Excuse me, that was bad timing. I had just taken a couple of sips of water so that wouldn't happen. My goodness. Okay, hello. Good evening. It's Erica here from Me Too Paper Crafts, and I'm coming to you with a Case the Catty project. I'm really excited about this one because this is truly, every time I purchase a suite of products from Stampin' Up, I think, oh my gosh, this is my favorite. Then I get another one. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. And this one has to be my favorite simply because of the greens in it. I love green. That's my favorite color. And I love fruit stamp sets. I don't know why. They make me happy. And what the heck? Fruit is very delicious and good for you. So I think fruit cards, fruit-themed cards are very cheery. And even if you send them in the wintertime, you know, when it's cold and dreary, to get a piece of fruit as a card in the mail is great. And it's something we can look forward to this summer. So enough about that. So I'm really excited about this suite, particularly since this is one of the suites where the designer series paper has 2 sheets of pears and leaves and little petal pink flowers that you can die cut using dies. And I'm going to show you what I've done. I've already done a bunch of cutting out here. I always like to cut a bunch out so that I have them ready for the next card that I want to make, so that it's just not as time consuming just to make up a quick card. So I'll show you that. I want to show you a couple of cards that I've already made that I'm really, really happy with. They're just delightful, I think. And the suite has lots of products in it. So I'm going to turn my camera down and show you that. I'll also show you the card that we're going to be using. Now, this is an online exclusive suite of products. You will not find it in the catalog. It's online. And so when I do Case the Catty for online products, I just go look at their samples. I usually print them out and put them in a little document. I'll show you. I've got this little document here with all of the sample cards. So it's as if looking at the catalog. And then you can reproduce them, change them up, do whatever you want. So Case the Catty means to take anything from a catalog or online that the Stampin' Up! Designers have created, and you can copy it exactly as is. You're allowed to do that, yes. And or you can change it up, change the color, bring in a different stamp set, just look at the layout and use the layout. So you can do whatever you want with Casing the Catty. It's really particularly great for beginner stampers because they typically don't know where to start. And so, yeah, go ahead and copy everything. Stampin' Up! Spends a lot of time and effort and love into creating all of the samples in the catalogs and the samples for the online products. They've got beautiful designers there, and the designers just love that you copy their work. So it's kind of copyright free in that respect. Okay, so without further ado, let's turn my camera down. I'm just going to bring that forward. And I welcome any newcomers to my channel. This is also going live. I believe it's going live on YouTube. I'd love for somebody to check that out. I never know because I don't really see it going over on YouTube, but it is published, so it should be live. I don't know that there's anything else I'm supposed to do. And I've been doing this for quite a while, but it certainly does get recorded there. So you can either watch the replay on my Facebook page or you can watch the replay on my YouTube channel. Both are called From Me to You Paper Crafts, so you should be able to find me. All right, so I'm going to bring this as a solo layout so you can see my desk and see what I'm up to. So I'm just going to sort of straighten out my camera here and show you what I'm up to here. Okay, I'm going to pull this over a bit more. There we go. I see there's 2 people watching. If you'd like to leave a comment, I always love to know where you're watching from and what kind of crafter are you? Are you an experienced crafter, a beginner crafter? Do you even like to craft and you just came across me on Facebook? Okay, now there's a couple of things I want to show you tonight as well. I want to show you how to fix the problem of your ribbon unraveling. Okay, we all have this problem where we have ribbon, and ribbon is not made to be kept in the container. And so you use it and then it becomes really unraveled. If you drop it on the floor, it rolls away and you end up having to rewind almost the whole spool. So I'm going to show you a tip that I learned from a demonstrator in the United States on how to fix that problem. So I'm going to pull out just some ribbons that I've already done that with just to show you. So let me just grab a few ribbons here. Okay, and you can make them for any width of spool. So this is what it looks like. It's just a strip of paper, and I can give you the measurements. It's just a strip of paper that you end up wrapping through the hole of the spool, and you wrap it around. Hi, Carol Lynn. Nice of you to pop in. You wrap it around, and you actually create a little slit in here. Now, I just so happen to have a slot punch that I've had for years and years. This is what it looks like. It's a slot punch. Stampin' Up! Has had slot punches in the past, so if you happen to have one of those, you're going to need that. Okay. Yeah, and I'll show you how to do this. So what happens is when you want to use the ribbon, you just slide this piece around and then pull your ribbon. So you just keep sliding it, pull the length that you want, work with it. When you're done with it, you slide it back in the other direction, and then it keeps your ribbon intact. And I've been doing this for whenever I get a new ribbon, I make one of these. And so you see there's different widths. So this length of paper will be different for each one, and the scoring measurements. So you use your scoreboard and your scoring tool, your stylus, to do that. Okay, so we'll do that. Make sure I don't forget to show you that. The other thing I want to show you is how you can stamp and add extra color to the pears. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. I've got a little sponge dauber here. Sponge dauber, it's easier with a sponge dauber than, say, the blending brushes. So if you have some sponge daubers, they've been around forever and we still sell them. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I came across a lady on the internet, and she had actually created a bunch of samples. See if I have it here. Did I not bring? Yeah, here it is. Her name is Sally Poole. She is getcraftywithsally.com, and she was showing her customers how to do this. So she did a bunch of pairing of different colors. So for example, Daffodil Delight with Wild Wheat, and then she's got Daffodil Delight with Flirty Flamingo, and then she's got Daffodil Delight with Old Olive, Daffodil Delight with Pecan Pie, Daffodil Delight with Pumpkin Pie, and then you've got Old Olive and Mossy Meadow, Old Olive and Pecan Pie. So just a whole bunch of different color combinations. You can look her up. She's calling it the Perfectly Pears color combos. And there's tons more combos that you can do, because I've seen different colored pears come through the stores. But here you've got Real Red and Cherry Cobbler. So you've kind of got yellow pears, orange pears, green, different shades of green, and they're really kind of fun and easy to make. Now, the stamp itself is fantastic because it is kind of like a detailed stamp. And so when you stamp it, it actually creates the light and the dark portions of the pear, as well as some little blemishes on there. So the stamp itself makes it really easy. Same for the leaves. So you could do the same with the leaves, stamp them, and then add a little bit of extra color with your little sponge dauber. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do that actually right now to start off with. So I'm just going to do one color combination just to show you how I did it. Here's a sample that I've been playing with, but look how realistic they are. They're unbelievable. And I'm not a painter, so it really helps. Now, I would suggest that you start with the lighter color. So I've got Daffodil Delight here and Old Olive, and I would start with the Daffodil Delight. So you're going to grab the stamp. And now when you look at the stamp set here, there is an outline and a fill, and I'm just going to show you the difference. So this one I stamped. So there's with the black outline on it. And I don't particularly care for that. You might, let me pull up a white piece here. You see that? It's got a black outline on it. Okay. And when I show you about cutting out the pieces from the designer series paper, you could add a black outline to these pieces. These were cut out from the paper. So you could add a black outline to that just with a black pen, a fine line Sharpie pen, if you wanted to. But that's what the black looks like. And then I added a bit of splotching on there. But I don't think you need it. So here is the paper. I've got little pieces left over. And so basically you take the die and you cut up the paper so it's manageable to fit in your die cut machine. And then you put the die over it and you cut. So these are the dies. You've got a die for the pear. You've got a die for the leaves. You have a die for this cluster. There's cluster, a pair of pears. Cluster that you can do, and then you've got this little flower. So you have 4 die cuts that you can use to cut them out. So here they are. Here you can see them on my table. Here are all the little flowers. And then with the flowers, there is a stamp. I'll show you right here. These 3 little kind of centers is what you can use. You have to rotate it so it fits on here, but it's easy to do. And so I just went ahead and stamped the centers, and I think they look better with the black centers on them. Okay, so that's what you can do with those. You also get the stamps. So if you want to stamp them on your own, you can. Actually, this is an outline stamp, so you have to color these. Whereas if you die cut them for the paper, you don't have to do any coloring. Okay, so everything you can die cut on the paper, you can also stamp and color. Okay, just to let you know. All right, so back to coloring. So I've got a piece of our basic white cardstock, and I'm going to mount the pear on an acrylic block. Oh dear, I don't think I brought a big enough. Oh, there's a block. Yeah, I've got a big enough. So here's what the pear looks like. So I'm going to mount that right on there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to ink it up with the pale color, the yellow first, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to open up your secondary color, your darker color, and then you're going to take your sponge dauber and dab the dauber. Okay, and then it doesn't really matter where you do this, but one side is typically darker than the other side. So if I turn it this way, if I'm following what the designer series paper looks like, you see the right-hand side is darker. So this is the right-hand side. So it's really the left side when you turn the stamp over. And then you can add as much extra color as you want on here. Okay, and then you've heard of the huffing technique. You're just going to add moisture. So I'm going to go with my breath, and then I'm going to stamp it. And just let it sit on your paper for a few seconds, just to let the ink saturate, okay? So there's an example of what the pear could look like. So the Daffodil Delight is quite a pale color. You could use, not Calypso Coral, you could use Cajun, is it Cajun Craze? It's not Cajun Craze. It's gone out of my head, but we have a darker yellow, and plus we have a new yellow. Darling Duckling, I think you could use as well, or Timid Tiger is another color. So you just want to play with your colors. So yellows with greens, reds with reds, pink with red. You could do a pink base with a bit of red, and just have fun with it. So that's what I did with these 4 here. I should have written down what colors I use, but see, even on this one, I put a little bit of orange on here. That might have been Calypso Coral or Pumpkin Pie. But you can just play around and have lots of fun. And then once you've got them, you can cut them all out. Okay. And then you could choose to use, these are the stems that are cut from the paper. So you could then add the stems. Okay. And the key thing is that the kind of fat end that's kind of squared off, that goes into the pear. This pointy bit goes out, is the top of the pear, is what's attached to the tree. But the chunky end here, squared off end, is what goes in the pears. I had them upside down before. I had them like this. And I realized that wasn't right. I'm pretty sure it's this way. But is anybody going to really know? I'm not sure. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you about how you can color, make some different colored pears. Really fun to do. Okay, so let's start putting our card together. Let me show you. I'm just going to grab a piece of I just don't want to forget to show you the ribbon trick. So when you cut your paper, and you can use any colored cardstock, doesn't really matter. It's whatever scraps you have left over. When I take an 8.5 by 11 and I cut it down to my 4 1/4 by my 4 by 5 1/4 panels, you know, I end up with these strips, and this strip measures, should be 1/2 inch. It's 1/2 inch strip. Okay, so that's all you need really. And then I'll show you how to make that. Okay, don't let me forget. All right, I'm just going to take all these dies and set them aside. This other die is really funky. Let me just show you the other dies too. So you have a really cool leaf that you could cut out, and then you could hang some of the smaller pears even from the paper. You've got these little pears that you could maybe hang from it. You've got 2 greeting dies here, a little short one and a long one, because you've got 2 short greetings. You've got hello and friend. So you could do hello friend, thank you friend. Yeah, and then you've got these other, a good friend is a gift, and congratulations. So you can have fun with those greetings. And then you've got some little flowers that you can, here's a whole bunch of flowers. Actually, there's a whole bunch on here too. There's a long strip of flowers, and you have a cluster of flowers. This would be one cluster. Okay, these are the other flowers. There's the stem. There's the cluster of pears. Yeah, really fun set. Plus, you've got this cool little die. Check out this die. This cuts out this. So it's a really cute little background kind of image. Again, you could do that in any color. If you don't have any gold foil cardstock, you might want to order some, because gold with the pears looks absolutely stunning. And they figured that out simply because they created this spool of ribbon. And the spool of ribbon it's old olive with gold in it. It's just gorgeous. And I made a little bow just to show you. It ties a cute little bow, but old olive and gold. So yeah, if you decided to, you could do these little flowers in gold, or you could do this in gold as a background. So I need to cut out one more of those. All right. Let me show you the card we're making tonight. Oh, it was hard picking which one, because I love them all. So here you can see in this picture here, you can see the pears. These are probably from the designer series paper. And there's no black outline, whereas this is a black outline. Okay, so they've stamped it black and then stamped the fill inside. So you have to decide whether you like the outline or not. So here's an example of that leaf stem, and then a whole bunch of flowers put on there. Isn't that pretty? Those are the flowers for the pears as they start their journey to become a pear. They're a flower first. And look, this one, I was going to do this one too, but this one has got an old olive square. This is a square card. And then they did these patterns as an embossed piece. So I did a video not too long ago where I showed you how you can take a die cut and turn it into like an embossing just by using your silicone mat in your die cut machine, just to get kind of like the embossed without it cutting out. That's what I'm trying to say. And then look at this, really two pretty cards. Okay, so lots of samples here. This is the one we're making tonight. Now I've decided to use a basic beige base for the card. So this is my card base. The basic beige is one of the colors that you can use. This is from the designer series paper. Now, you know, when you go to use the paper, you use one side, and when you flip it over, you think, oh my gosh, maybe I should use this side. But this doesn't look very good on the basic beige, in my opinion. And this is really what the card is all about. It's this piece here. I didn't show you the papers, but I'll try and remember to show you the papers at the end. They're just stunning. Okay, so I'm going to get my tape runner out, and I'm going to stick this to my card base. We'll start with that. But whoever the designer was that made this paper, she or he really put the colors together nicely. We've got Misty Moonlight in here, Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, beautiful colors, and they all coordinate. It's just amazing. Excuse me, I'm really froggy. I wasn't froggy at all today, but I am right now. Okay, so there's our card base, basic beige with that piece of designer series paper right on top. Now, on this card, they've got kind of like a flagged piece, and I think this is a handmade flagged piece. But I wanted to show you that you can purchase these gorgeous, if you like making banners, like for birthday parties, anniversaries, new baby coming, at Christmas time, for New Year's, there is this absolutely fabulous banner set. So it even comes with the die cuts to make the holes at the top and to make these little reinforcements on the corners to thread your string through. And they've got some other designs in here as well, but they've got all of these banner sizes. So the very large ones are great to create your banners. So really, I should really try and use these at Christmas time. I like to put a banner. I have a Stampin' Up customer who is a banner. She makes amazing banners, and she gave me one for Christmas time. So I string it on my mantle. But they're great for decor. Carol, you like to do a lot of Christmas decorating, so here's some thoughts for you. So this is a beautiful set. It is a little on the expensive side, I will tell you. But I have seen lots of things made with these, not just banners and cards, but you can take a couple and make a box with it. And you can also make cards that stand up. So the V is at the bottom of the card. So you could do that as well. So I thought I would see if I could use one of these on here. It might have to be a smaller one. It might not really work on here. Let me just see how wide. Oh, let's go with, it's not long enough maybe. Let's just grab this one and see if I can make it work. I thought I would just try putting this on here. You see, this one is a little bit more narrow, so it shows more of the background. But if I go more narrow, then it becomes shorter. So let's do this one. Maybe we'll use this one. That actually doesn't look too bad. So let's use that one. Okay, so I need a piece of basic beige. So I've got some here in my envelope. It's a single piece. So I'm going to cut this out of here. Now, again, if you wanted to plan to maybe make this as a card front, this is a little bit too wide, but I always tell people to think about when you're cutting out a piece, you could be making a window for another project. That's what all I'm saying for that. So you might be able to do something with that. But I'll just actually cut it right up here. Okay, so let's give this a cut out. And then we're going to do some stamping on here with Calypso Coral ink. Okay, now I'm angling my cardstock so that the die doesn't go horizontally through the machine. You kind of want to cut these dies on an angle. If it has a straight edge on it, put it through on an angle. Okay, so we've got this here. And then there is in the stamp set, there is like a little bit of a splotch or splatter stamp in here. Right here. So I'm going to put this on a block. And then I'm going to pull out Calypso Coral is the color being used. And let me just grab a piece of scrap paper, just so I don't get ink all over my silicone mat. And then I'm just going to randomly, I think I'll stamp off as well. And I'm rotating my stamp. You want to go off the edges. Okay, that should do. It's a little bit of splatter. All right, let's pull back my picture here so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so we've got a couple of pears. So we've got a bit of a lighter pear and a darker pear. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the stems on top. So I'm going to take two from here. And you can angle them a little bit. I'm just going to use this really fine tipped glue here. Just so that these can set and dry. Okay, so there's our two pears ready to go. Okay, now we've got some ribbon in the background. Now the pears, I think, are going to have to go up on dimensionals just because of the ribbon. So I'm going to put this on here first. And then I'm going to take some of my, there's 3 clusters of flowers. I'm going to take the ones where I stamped the centers, you see. And in the picture, they show them where they've actually, you know, they're cut off the edge, but I've got enough room. So I'm going to be sticking a few in like this. One here, one here. I'm just going to design the card first. See how it turns out. And then I'm going to put one over here. I'm going to get it to go right on the edge of the cardstock here, like that. Okay. Then we're going to have our 2 pairs, and we're going to have, I need to cut one more of these out of some basic white cardstock. So let me do that. So quite a few little bits come out of here. Just grab my pokey tool here. So it's easier if you get most of the bits out while it's still in the die. Oh, that's not going to do that for me tonight. But here's the die. Now I'm just going to poke these out here. There we go. All right, so we've got a couple of these. So one is going to sit kind of like that, overlapping the flowers a little bit. And we've got another one coming in just like that. Okay. So this is where I usually give some a tip that when you're designing a card and you're laying things out, of course, you're going to have to disassemble it in order to assemble it. So I always tell people, just take a picture so that you can see where you're positioning everything. Tonight, we don't have to because I've already got a picture of a card here. But when you're designing your own, you might just want to take a picture. Okay, now this, I'm just going to do we kind of want a big bow. I usually just do a zigzag. I like a zigzag. So you want to do a bit of a zigzag like that, okay? So let me grab my big ribbon scissors and cut that off. Okay, and that's going to go under the pear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to disassemble now, just so I know what I'm doing. So the first thing I need to do is to glue on this piece. And I'm going to put my ribbon here and then put an acrylic block on top of it. Okay, now let's take this. And I'm just going to use my Tombow glue. I'm going to put this right here, like so. The grid marks on the Designer Series paper helps to line it up, which is kind of cool. Okay, now I'm going to put in those flowers again. So I'm just going to grab some Tombow. Now, I didn't put glue to the very edge of this piece, so I should be able to slide this underneath. Okay, like that. Then I want to do another one down here. And rotate it so that they don't look the same. Just putting it right on the edge of the card there. Okay, and then we've got one over here on this side. Let's pull this up a little bit just so I can tuck it under there. Oh, there we go. It's going. Okay. There we go. All right. So those are our flowers. And now I'm going to put down these things. So these are going to be a bit more tricky to glue, but I told you my tip with a silicone brush. So I bought these silicone brushes online and cut them down to be really, really short so they're not so flimsy. So what you do with these, with this I mean, turn this upside down. I'm going to put a bit of Tombow glue right on my mat here. Well, that's my logo. Okay, and I'm just going to pounce my brush, and then I'm going to pounce. Make sure the die cut does not move though while you're pouncing. Otherwise you'll get glue on the other side, which you don't want. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this on here like that. Okay, then I'm going to do the other one. Over here. Okay. Now I'm going to grab some Scotch tape. To me, that's the easiest way to put ribbon, especially if it's going to be hidden. And it is. So let me grab my ribbon. So I often do this with ribbon. Scotch tape is just easier. You don't want to fiddle with tear and tape. And so this is going like this. So I'm just going to put my Scotch tape right over the middle, like so. And I will have to trim this side a little bit. Okay, and then we want our pears. So we've got one pear here, and we've got another pear. So they've got the light pear over here, does not matter. You do what you want to do. And then another pear underneath it. But I got to cover up that tape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals on these two leaves here. I'm going to grab my little mini dimensionals. I don't have them on my desk. Oh, there they are. Okay, let's put my, oh, I need to use this anyway. All right, let's just put a couple of dimensionals on the leaves. And I think I'll put one on the kind of the top of the pear, like right there. And then I'll put some glue at the bottom. So this is going to come up here. I just want to make sure I cover that Scotch tape. So we're going to do that. Then I'm going to take the second pear and I'm going to position it a little bit lower. I don't want to squish my ribbon there, but I can still put a couple of dimensionals on the leaves, I think. And again, at the top of the pear, I just like to lift things up a little bit. So let's put a bit of glue on the bottom here. All right, and then this is going to, I'm going to move it down just a little bit more, like that. Okay. There's the card. It's a really beautiful three-dimensional card. Okay, now we also have a greeting. Thank you, friend. So I've got, I think I'm going to do hello, friend. I've been making a few thank you cards lately. Let's just do hello, friend. Okay. Now, this looks like it's on a little piece of old olive cardstock. And I did not bring old olive to my desk. So just bear with me for a second. I'm going to be using both of the little greeting dies, these two dies here. So I'm doing, oh, thank you, friend. No, I want to do thank you because I have to use the longer greeting. So here, we'll do thank you, just so we can use that die. Okay, thank you. I've got my narrow block here. Thank you. And we're doing white embossing powder. Let's close up my glue. Let's put this die over here. So I've got thank you. Let's get rid of hello. Changed my mind. And let's bring out friend. Okay. So we've got thank you, friend. Now, I'm just going to grab a little piece of old olive cardstock. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy and my Versamark. We'll do these two strips at the same time. So thank you. You don't have to worry about doing it straight because we're going to die cut it out. Thank you and friend. Okay. And let's grab the white embossing powder with a spoon. Tap that off. Tap that off. Close the embossing powder before you have an accident. Ask me how I know. Okay, so we've got our greetings now. So we're going to put this, I'm going to wait for these to dry a little bit or to cool down. I don't want to smudge my embossing. I'll just do a little 5-minute tidy. Now that reminds me, there was a kids TV show. It was a girl who sat on a big couch. Got a memory all of a sudden. And she used to do this 10-minute tidy or 10-second tidy or something like that. I don't even remember. If my daughter's watching, she might remember that show. The Comfy Couch, was it called? Or there were so many great TV shows for kids when my daughter was growing up. I don't know what's going on TV these days for kids. Okay, this is a tight fit, but it works. But you definitely want to secure it down with some tape. Okay, now I can run these through together. Oh, I've got glue on there. So this will say, thank you, friend. I love about fruit stamp sets is that, you know, in the summer, depending, like we've just had cherries and we've got lots of fruit. You can make up a little fruit basket with a nice card to go with it for someone. Okay, thank you, friend. These are now scraps. Look how sweet those look. Okay, and we're going to put these right on the pears. So because I glued these fairly down flat, I could put these on dimensionals. I think they'd look nice on dimensionals. Pop them up a bit. Now these dimensionals, I was saying in my last video, I think, these are left over from a kit or paper pumpkin, and I think they're a little bit higher than the normal dimensionals. Okay, let's just put this right here. Thank you, friend. These fit just perfectly on the back of these little sentiment strips. Look at that. Thank you. Now I'm going to get my tweezers out just so that I can, this is butted right up against it. Thank you, friend. Okay. All right. Now, the finishing touch. I have two finishing touches I love to do. Can you guess what they are? Well, one is definitely Wink of Stella, which I'm not sure if I even need on this card. There's a lot going on in this card. We've got a bit of gold sparkle on here already. So Wink of Stella is one of my finishing touches. And then the other finishing touch, of course, are gems. And there's a beautiful pack of gems here. Look at these. All right, you've got three colors. You've got Darling Duckling. Look, you've got Darling Duckling. Look how pretty those are. They really sparkle. The camera might not be picking them up. And then you've got your Old Olive. And then I think this is Secret Sea is one of our new colors, Secret Sea. When you see these in the light, oh my goodness gracious, they are absolutely stunning. So this color here on this DSB is Secret Sea. It's the dark blue or dark gray blue. It's a beautiful color. I'm starting to really enjoy the new in colors. Wasn't so sure about them in the beginning, but now I'm really enjoying the colors, especially the light blue one. What's the light blue one called? Secret Sea and Cloud. I think it's called Cloud Cover. It's just a gorgeous color. Okay, so let's pop a few of these on here. So we've got one here. So now that I look at this card, there's not much of a V happening down here because it was too short. Now there is a way to die cut and make this longer using those dies. You basically hang the die over the plates so that it doesn't cut, and then you can have this as long as you want. So if you decide to make this card, you might want to just do a hand cut one and make it longer. Let me just show you in the picture here. See, you can let me know which one you like better. See, there's not much of a V happening down here on my card, but there is here. So you can decide which you like better. Now that I see it, I should have just hand made one, but I wanted to try out those flag dies. Okay, let's finish with our little embellishments here. I'm going to put this one over here, up here, and then I'll put a large one. These aren't coming off very easily. I'm going to put another one down here. Yeah, I don't have enough room to put the embellishments on the basic beige piece. But there you have it. There is the card for tonight. I love it. I love the way it all came together with all the different elements. The flowers, this little bit of grid in the background, the splatters. Yeah, I love it. Okay, I'm going to show you these other two, and then I'm going to remember to show you my ribbon trick. Okay, so I made this one. So this is actually a frame from the Gallery Blooms suite of products. It comes with these fantastic frames. So I had this black frame left over. So I put the DSP behind the frame, and then I used a circle from some of our dies, and then the pear and the flowers, and then I wrapped some ribbon around it. Oh, I noticed I have no gems on this one. Maybe it doesn't need it. I don't know. Okay, so I made that one. And then I made this one. So again, more circles. So these circles were kind of left over from another project. This was left over from another project. This was left over. So these are what we're calling scrappy cards, when you have leftover pieces. And again, thank you, friend. And then, now when you're cutting out the designer series paper, do not neglect cutting out the pieces that are on the very side of the paper, the edges of the paper, because this is what you get. You're still going to cut the edge pieces out because you can always take this and put it on the edge of the inside of your card, or you can put it on the edge of your envelope. So there are even pairs that are like that. See if I have any in here. I've used up a lot of these pieces already. I need to cut another here. See, this was from an edge. It's just a half a pair. So you can hang this out from the side, or you can hang it down from the top, or put it on your envelope, whatever you want to do, or make a cluster of different pairs. So here's another one. See, it's cut off at the bottom, but they're really useful as decorative pieces. Okay, so there you go. All right. Boy, cleanup is going to be a fun time tonight. All right, let's show you this trick here. Okay, so you need to do some scoring. So I'm just going to pull out my little mini scoreboard here and my Stampin' Up stylus, and then I'm going to grab I'm racking my brains right now as to who provided this, and there's a video on this. I will put it in my comment. I will put it in as a comment, and maybe if I can, I'll link to her. Oh, what is her name now? She's great. She's in the States. Anyway, she shows you how to do this, and then she gives you all the measurements. So I took the measurements that she gave, and I just created this document with all of the measurements. So the important part is knowing you need a ruler, and the important part is that you need to know the width of the spool. Okay, we're measuring in imperial, in inches. So it's from the outside edge of the spool to the other outside edge of the spool. So if I take my ruler here, I'm putting it right at the outside edge. So this is actually a half inch spool. Okay. So I'm going to use this from 1. Yeah, this is 1/2 inch. Okay. And that's important to know because that's the width that you're putting across here. Okay. So I don't care about the length because I cut it off at the end anyway. So you take your paper, just a 1/2 inch strip of paper. And when I look at my chart here, 1/2 inch spool, I'm going to start scoring at 1 3/8. So 1 3/8, then 1 7/8. So 1 7/8. So it's this gap here that goes across the spool. Okay. So the first one was 1 3/8, 1 7/8, 3 1/4. So this gap here is where it comes down from the top through the center. So that's 3 1/4, and then 3 3/4. So 3 1/2, 3 3/4. And that's the other inside of the spool. Okay. Now you don't have to burnish these. You can just fold them over. If you want to burnish them, you can. Okay. So from this piece where you started, this little gap here is where you're going to put the hole, the slot punch. Now, Stampin' Up, there were these corner rounder came on a kind of like a tri-punch. And they're retired now, but you may still have one of those. But you just want to grab a slot. Now, you could take a hole punch and just punch several holes across there. But don't leave the little points in between. You kind of want to make it flat. But you just want to make a little, doesn't have to be perfect or even or anything. Just get a slot in there. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to roll up your ribbon. You're going to slide your ribbon through. Okay. To start. So this is going across the top. Okay, so you've got, this was the start of the spool, and often it's a tad too long. I like to just snip it off a little bit, or we could leave it. That's not too bad. It's the other end you're going to snip. Okay, and then this end you're going to feed it through the hole. Okay, this is going through the hole. And then you pull it up to the other side. Okay. So this is where I cut it. So you're going to be gluing this. So I'm just going to trim this off. Doesn't matter where you trim it. Just trim it. Okay. Then you're going to take your Tombow glue. And you can put some glue on here. And you're going to pull this up and then secure it. It's not rocket science. Doesn't have to be as neat as a pin. But there you go. So now you've got your little ribbon slider. So you hold on to the ribbon and then you just slide it. And you keep sliding it till you get the length of ribbon that you want. And then when you don't need your ribbon anymore, you just slide it back and slide it back. And I am telling you, it has kept my ribbons so neat and tidy. Whether you lie them down, if you drop it on the floor, once in a blue moon, if you don't leave enough of a tail here, it may slip through the hole. So leave a bit of a tail at the end. But there you go. And I've done nearly all my ribbons. I even did some of my retired ribbons because I'm still using them. But there you go. And I will put her information in a comment on this post. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed tonight's card. I hope you'll consider this beautiful suite of products. It's absolutely gorgeous. And now I am having a Sister's Day tomorrow. So sadly, I'm not going to have a fun fold tomorrow. You can look on my past fun folds. Again, you can go to my YouTube channel to find my videos, or you can go to Facebook. And you know, there's a menu across the top. You just look for media, and you can go in there and see my videos, or just, you know, scroll through the feed. But really, the best place probably is to go back to YouTube and find it. I think they're a bit easier to find. So thanks once again for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I will be back on Monday. We are done with our templates, so now I can move on to some other things. And every now and then I'll just find a template and I'll work out the measurements, and we'll do more templates because I think they're great. So until then, bye for now.